ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿತ್ತು. ಸೌಂಡ್ ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅದ Hello all. I welcome you all to the orientation session on open electives for 6th semester offered by the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, KLS GIT Institute of Technology. The first subject in this stream is Python programming. Its subject code is 18CS661 and offered by Dr. Manjula Ramanavar, myself. This is a brief session on the importance of the programming language Python. So the presentation has been organized as why Python, what is it used for, who uses Python, and a brief look at the syllabus. Python is a high-level programming language which is object-oriented in nature, and it is also dynamic. It is interpreted, and these are some of the features that have made Python popular. It is open source, that is the source code of Python is freely available. It is compatible with a variety of hardware platforms. It is very easy to learn. It is simple. It has a very simple syntax, easy to learn. Even a novice can pick up Python programming. In spite of being very simple, it is yet very powerful. It is ubiquitous in nature. That is, it is a widely used programming language. It has a well-accomplished standard library. There are a lot of packages available. You have packages for data exploration. You have packages for machine learning. You have well-defined packages for a variety of tasks. You can also test and debug your Python code, and it provides support for a wide range of commercial databases. You could also do a simple Google search and check for top programming languages, and you can find that Python tops the list in most of the sites. Here you find the top programming language popular in 2022 is Python, according to this Next Technology. If you look at this, you see that Python has occupied the top slot in almost all the search results. Here it has occupied the second slot, with JavaScript the first, second being Python. Yes, this says Python undoubtedly tops the list. All these clearly indicate the importance of Python as a programming language. What is Python used for? Python is used for a wide range of applications, whether it is web development, software development. You can also write Python code to work with a database. It can be used for developing a range of games, for 3D graphics applications, for network programming, client side as well as server side network programming. It can be used for education applications as well as desktop applications. A whole range of companies use Python for a variety of purposes. We all are very much familiar with YouTube, we use on a regular basis. So the YouTube system is largely written in Python. Google, we use it. I don't know how many number of times we use Google in our day-to-day routine, and this its web search system is written extensively in Python. Dropbox is a storage service that codes both its server and client-side software primarily in Python. The Raspberry Pi single board computer promotes Python as its language. BitTorrent, which is a peer-to-peer file sharing system, it began basically as a Python program which was extended later. NASA also uses Python for a range of its cryptographic and intelligent analysis applications. Netflix and Yelp, all these streaming services have documented the usage of Python in their infrastructures. These are some of the most well-known companies that use Python. The list goes on. Now a brief look at the syllabus as to what would be offered as an open elective. So this is the scheme, LTP scheme, 3 hours of lecture, no tutorial and no practical per week, totally 39 hours of syllabus. The CIE is for 50 marks and SEE is also for 50 marks. On completing this course successfully, the student would earn 3 credits. These are the course learning objectives: to acquire programming skills in core Python, to acquire object-oriented skills in Python, to develop the skill of designing GUI, graphical user interfaces in Python, and to develop the ability to write database applications in Python. As told earlier, the subject is fairly simple and it is easy to learn. The prerequisites are computer concepts and C programming, which almost all students learn during their school, in fact. So totally, we have 5 units here in the syllabus. The first unit is an 8-hour unit, and it is an introduction to Python. Here, the idle IDE would be introduced, and there are several IDEs available like Spider, PyCharm, etc. So the introductory session would deal with idle, and then we would be switching on to Spider, which is more versatile. So we will be having a brief, a couple of sessions on idle, how to use idle to develop basically console-based Python applications. So this is this unit deals with basic coding skills. What are the data types, variables, how to work with numeric data, how to work with string data, what are the Python functions, some of the widely used Python functions, what are Boolean expressions, then what is the selection structure, what are the iteration structures, and it will be basically the subject will be dealt in a hands-on way, wherein illustrative programs will be demonstrated throughout, showing the various features provided by the Python programming language. So basically the first unit is an introduction to Python. The second unit, which is again an 8-hour portion, has other constructs which are functions. We'll see how to define and use functions and modules. Recursion, will be touching upon what is recursion and how Python supports recursion. We'll also see some very important data types provided by Python, such as lists and tuples and dictionaries. We will be looking at these high-level data structures, and we will also see how to work with dates and times. Again, as indicated earlier, this The entire subject would be dealt in a hands-on way of doing it, essentially through small coding examples. The features would be illustrated. The third unit is a 7-hour portion. It would deal with files and exceptions. A file is a storage of file is a collection of related data, basically used for persistent data storage. Here we will see how to work with text files and CSV files. CSV is comma separated values files, and how to work with binary files. So the first part deals with file handling, and the second part in this unit deals with exception handling. Exception is a runtime error. So we'll see how to write Python code to handle a single exception, as well as to how to handle multiple exceptions. Unit 4 is an 8-hour unit, and this unit deals with the object-oriented programming facets of Python. We'll see how to write classes and how can objects be instantiated, how to define a class, and then we shall see some aspects of object-oriented programming, such as object composition, that is how simpler objects can be combined to form more complex objects, then how data and code can be clubbed together through encapsulation, and access specifiers such as private, public, and protected. And we'll see how to work with inheritance, wherein an object can acquire properties of an existing object. We shall see how methods can be overridden. So all these form the topic of discussion for Unit 4. The last unit, which is again an 8-hour portion, has two components, databases and GUI. So here we shall see what are relational databases. A relational database is essentially, in layman terms, we can say that it is a set of tables. It is a set of tables that contain related data. So we shall see how Python programs can be written to work with the database. What SQL is, SQL also called as SQL, stands for Structured Query Language. This is used for data. This is used as a data definition language, data manipulation language, as well as data query language, DDL, DML, and DQL. So we shall have a brief introduction on SQL, and then we have SQLite Manager. We shall see how Python programs can be written to work with the database manager, SQLite Manager. We will be looking at the specific database manager. The second part of this unit deals with event-driven programming, that is on the front-end part, creating a GUI that handles an event. We shall see how to work with components. We will be looking at the tkinter, specific tkinter GUI package, and using it, how we can have a series of GUI controls programmed. That is the topic of discussion in the last unit. There are a lot of resources available on Python. The prescribed textbook is Michael Urban and Joel Murach, Python Programming. Reference book specified as Mark Lutz, Programming by Python. This is from Orally. At the end of the course, these are the course outcomes. The students would be able to explain basic principles of Python programming language, would be able to apply mechanisms of file and exception handling, build object-oriented application for a given scenario, and develop database and GUI solutions to address real-world problems. The program outcomes of this course are design and development of solutions, that is PO3. They would be exposed to using modern tools such as Idle, Spider, and if possible Jupyter notebooks. So this is PO5, and as part of the assessment there would be a course project, and it is expected that students work in a team and lifelong learning skills would be inculcated, which is PO12. This is the scheme of CI. There would be 2 IE tests which would be giving 30 marks, 2 assignments, and average of the assignments would be taken for 10 marks, and there would be a course project which the students are supposed to work in a team and submit a report. This is for 10 marks, adding up to 50. Minimum marks required to qualify for the semester end examination is 20 out of 50. Writing 2 IE tests is compulsory. The semester end examination as most of the exams will be conducted for 100 marks of 3 hours duration and will be reduced to 50 marks. Minimum marks required in SW2 passes 40 out of 100. The question paper would contain 2 questions from each unit carrying 20 marks, and the students have to answer 1 full question from each unit. That's a brief overview of the syllabus. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Professor Kuldeep Sambrekar, who will be handling the open elective this time, database management system offered by CSE department. So, before starting, I just want to give a brief overview about what this subject is all about. Rather than going into a content of this, if I say the subject database management system, we can break into 2 parts. The first part is a database, and second one is a management system. So, what is this subject all about overall? It's something like a database. If I say, it's nothing but a collection of related data organized in a way that can be easily accessed, managed, and updated. Now, as we all know, we have a lot of data. Take an example of our own wardrobes over there, right? If you have a wardrobe, we just go and dump the stuffs anyhow we want in the wardrobe. But if I want to access it back, it is very difficult for me to get the data, relevant data, which I want from the wardrobe. See, for example, books, trousers and all, if you keep here there, it is very difficult to get the data, right? So what you can do is, if you arrange your wardrobe properly, like in one shelf, you will keep your books, in one shelf, you will keep your shoes, one shelf, you will keep all the trousers and all, right? And what you do, it is well organized. That is called as a database now, okay? And what is a database management system? It's a software now. So what happens now? Like an Alexa, if you put a label onto the shelves, it is very easy for you to get the information directly from there, right? So the subject is all about, you have a lot of data with you, and there are softwares also available to manage the data. But to manage the data in the software, how the data should be added into the software, how the data should be kept in the software is all about. So the subject overall deals with the two keywords. A database is nothing but it's a collection of related data. The data can be anything. In my next slides, I'll just tell you about that. And management system, it's a software. So the subject database management system is a combination of two things. The database, which is nothing but a collection of objects, and DBMS software, which helps us to update the software automatically. Okay. So why you will study DBMS now? So the main question arises, why should I take this subject or why should I study? We should study because the shift from computation to information. As we have all seen now, there is a lot of data being organized and everything we are going in digital world. So at lower end, there is a physical data available, but I require some application to give the data to me. Just like if you are talking about your library, if at all I want any book from my library, I have to go there and check it physically, right? But now take a example of our own portal, college portal, library portal, where every book has a QR code or a code there, right? So what happens is, if at all you want to check a book, you don't have to visit library physically. Sit anywhere, open the library app, just put the book name and just check it out, whether the book is available in the library. If it is available, you'll just directly go and get it, right? So this is what the trend is happening nowadays, which is shifting from computation to information. So it is very important to study DBMS. I'm just giving an example of one thing, students. There are a lot of examples to do that. Second thing is, data set is increasing in diversity and volume. You have seen now, because of this COVID impact, there's a lot of things are people are going on online mode. So if at all you want to go in online mode, the data is increasing. Take an example of our Google Classroom itself. We have a lot of data on our Google Classroom, but how the data is organized so that I can retrieve it easily. So for that, I should study DBMS. And the other important thing is, it encompasses several areas of computer science, just like operating system, AI, multimedia logic, etc. So in this subject, what you will be studying in this subject overall is, we'll be studying how to keep the data. As I know now, there's a lot of data, how the data should be organized. How should I keep the data is what you will be studying. How to manage the data, because keeping a data is one aspect. After I know how I kept it, how should I manage it also? I just don't have to dump it directly. I can keep it in a proper manner. So you will study about how to manage the data. Then you will be studying how to organize the data. So if I know all these three parts, that is how to keep the data, manage and organize, then you can just shift yourself to how to place the data in the software. See, nowadays you also have a contact list on your books. Initial days we had kept all the contact numbers in our notepad books, right? But now in our mobile phones we have phone book, where we can directly see all the contacts. We don't have to carry the book everywhere. So that is what you had kept it in a book. Now you have placed it in a software, and you will be studying about how to extract the data from the software. So if at all you want any specific mobile number to be searched, I remember his name, but I don't remember his mobile number. So what you will do, you will directly give the search option there, and you will just type the name. So the minute you type a name, you will get the exact option on your screen. So this is what the overall things you will be studying in this subject. That is how to keep the data, how to manage the data, how to organize, how to place the data in the software, and how to extract the data from the software. And there are a few more things which I'll be dealing out later on. So overview of this subject. So this has all the subjects are divided into 5 units. The very first unit is the introduction unit, where we'll be studying about what DBMS is, how the data is available, what formats of the data are available, and all that you'll be studying under the introduction part. That is the advantages of DBMS, why should I go for DBMS, and all that. So once I know how the data is kept, how the data is managed and all, the next thing comes is ER modeling. As I am talking here, like every unit is linked to another unit. So what is ER modeling? So ER modeling is on a piece of paper. Whatever data I am having, that should be dumped on a piece of paper, just like a blueprint. We call it as an ER modeling. See students, even if you want to do anything, before directly implementing it, you will sketch it on a piece of paper, just to visualize it, whether the data is properly or not. Does it look the way which I want it? Same concept is called as ER modeling. So in introduction, you will be studying about what DBMS is, how the data is kept and all. So once I know that, I'll shift myself to ER modeling, like model the data from a piece of paper into a diagrammatic representation. So once I have done that with a diagrammatic representation, then I'll go for mathematical modeling. Probably mechanical people would understand very good among out of this. What I mean by mathematical modeling. So whenever you have given any task, that should be mathematically modeled to just check it efficiency, whether it is properly efficient or not. So that is the unit 3, where we'll be studying about relational model and algebra, where the concepts of set theory and all what we studied in our school days, the same is here with some extended version of it. So once I know the introduction part, I know how to model the things, then I'll go for its mathematical modeling. After that, I'll go for database design. I'll go for a database design. So what I mean by database design, taking a simple example here, if at all you wish to construct a house, right? So you'll gather all the information which I wanted, which is unit 1. Unit 2 is you yourself will plan it out, whether this is how my house should look like and all on a piece of paper. It is ER modeling. Relational modeling, you will work about the cost aspects and all, right? How much material is required, what might be the cost, how the things are working, how they are collaborated and all. That all will be working under relational model and algebra. So once I do that, the engineer will give a blueprint for you, like how it should be designed. So how the databases are designed. Take an example of Facebook now. In Facebook, you have so many tabs available, right? So what are those tabs? They have designed the Facebook in such a way that it is easy for you and me to use it. For example, if I'm having a mutual friends, there is a tab also available like to just check it out. If there are two people, who is the mutual friend among us, right? So that is what a database design is all about. If you look at all the websites, Amazon, Flipkart and all, they have designed the database in such a way that in electronics section, I'll get all the things. So in electronics, I'll get all the things which are related to electronics only, right? That is a good design, I can say, right? So I know the introduction part. I know how to model it. I know the mathematical concept of it. I know how to design it. So once I know that, the last unit is a SQL, which is nothing but the structured query language. So what you did everything on a piece of paper, you will do it on a software. That is structured query language. You will write in terms of queries. So this is an overview about the entire subject, which you can, at the end of the day, you can call it as yourself as an SQL engineer. Okay. As I told, what is there in unit 1? The same thing is I've highlighted here, which starts with the introduction of database, the characteristics, advantages, when not to use a DBMS, who are the people on the scene, worker behind the scheme, the architecture design and all. What I told in the previous slides, the same thing here. Next is ER modeling. We here have ER relationships. I'll not go in depth of this, but I'll just give an overview, like how the things can be manipulated, how the things can be managed, the similar informations can be kept at one place. All that you'll be studying under the ER modeling concept. Third one, as I said, relational modeling and relational algebra. You'll be studying about various set theory operations on SQL, like the select operation, the delete project operation, you have union, intersection, all that things. You'll be studying under the relational model and relational algebra. The next is database design, the unit 4, as I said. So to design anything, usually we always have a guidelines. So which are those guidelines available for me to design a database? We'll be studying under that. That is informal designs. We have something known as functional dependencies. Like if at all you want the information from somebody else, how they're related to each other. See, rather than you writing the same answer again, you can always give a pointer saying that the same is written in this book or that book. We call it as a dependency. You're showing a dependency. So that is what functional dependencies are. There are normal forms based on primary keys. This is a concept, which are something we can say it as a thumb rules, which will be studying in this unit. If at all you want to design a database, there are some thumb rules to be followed. We have various rules over there. Usually we call it as a first normal form, second normal form, and third normal form. So these are the various design rules you will be studying under database design aspect. And the last unit, as I said, SQL. See, remember students, in the initial slide I told you, database is a collection of related objects and DBMS is a software. So all this, what you learned till unit 4, all this you can do it on a software, and that to write the software, the language is known as structured query language. Just like you wrote a C program now in K developer or Turbo C. Same thing. Now I know everything of SQL. Now I need to do it practically. So to do the practical aspects, you have a software known as structured query language. Just like a C program itself, like a main, opening, closing bracket, everything. It's a structure well defined. Like a keywords you have in C, you have functions, everything in key. Same thing, there is a concept here. We'll be studying about the basic constraints, the schema change statements, how I can write a query. See on Amazon website and all, you just give a keyword iPhone 10, right? It's a keyword. So what happens? The entire Amazon website, it searches iPhone 10. So that is a query which you are writing to the database. So how to write different queries, how to access the information, you'll be studying under this part. Then you'll be studying how to add the data into the database, how to delete the data into the database, and how to update the statements in the SQL. Take example of our DHI itself, which we are working right now. So every semester you keep on updating your data, right? From first semester you are promoted to second, which is nothing but an update. The very first day you came to college, your information was fed in a software. So only now you are getting everything at ease, which is insert statement. For example, if you want to change from one branch to other branch, you have deleted it from one, you have changed it to another. Yes, so DHA is the best example of this DBMS subject, where everything is on a ease. Think the other way, if everything was on a piece of paper, it would have been very difficult to get the information. But since there is a software available, DHI, you can extract all the information. So you can relate that DHI is a management system, and the way we write the information is a database where we have save the data in a proper way, that CS students are in CS database, mechanical are in mechanical, ENC in ENC, electrical, aeronautics, and so on. Okay, so this is an overview about all the units. Now opportunities, very important thing. So once I study this DBMS, what are the opportunities for me? So the most important is, most of the websites now, whichever you are using it, are running on PHP and MySQL. So you can get a good job out of it, because if I know MySQL, I can have a job opportunities in website design. And there are many fields where you can build your career, like data analytics is there, data science, and even there are positions required only for SQL languages, because the companies like Facebook, Instagram, and all, LinkedIn, they want a SQL engineer who can manage the data at the back end, because at front end people are using it. But to use the data should be managed also. So they're in need of those people. And very important, SQL is most in demand skill among all the jobs in data, appearing 42.7% of all job posting. So just see, if you have a basic knowledge about these subjects also, you have a good career aspects to get a good job in industry, where 42.7% you have a job opportunities opening if you study DBMS as your one of the subjects. Okay, thank you all. I hope this was clear with everyone. For more details, if any queries are there from your end, you're always free to contact me. The details are already shared with you students. I can tell you in depth about what this subject is all about later also. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Good afternoon, students. Myself, Dr. R.S. Patil from Computer Science Department. Today I am here to give a brief introduction about subject data structures, open elective. The subject code is 18CS663. So let me go ahead with the content of the subject. Before going to the content, let me tell you what is data structure. Data structure is a storage that is used to store and organize the data. Means the huge number of data which is going to be collected from n number of ways are going to be stored, and we have to organize in a proper manner. And the data structures which we are going to study, these are used to arrange all these data in a computer system, which can be accessed and updated efficiently. The prerequisite for this particular subject is basic computer concepts as well as C programming, because we are going to implement these data structure concepts using C programming, which you have already learnt in your first year level. Let me go back to again the content of your syllabus. Look into the graph which is presented before all of you. The entire data structure subject is divided into two types, that is linear data structures and non-linear data structures. In linear data structures, again we have four different types of data structures. One is array, second one is stack, third one is queues, fourth one is linked list. In this first one already you have studied in your C programming. Okay, what is array? What are the two different types of array? What are the different operations possible on arrays when it comes to 1D array as well as a 2D array? All these things we have already discussed in first year level. But in this particular syllabus, in open elective subject, we have kept the remaining linear data structure which you have not studied in your first year level, because our CS as well as IS students, we have already studied this subject at third semester level. Now this subject we have floated for non-IT branch students at the sixth semester for as an open elective. The remaining data structures, that is stacks, queues and linked list, you are going to study in this particular subject. As well as when it comes to non-linear data structure, yes, you are going to study only about trees. Graphs we have excluded from the syllabus. Then what are these stacks, queues, linked list and trees? These are the different data structures. These are used to store the data as well as to do n number of operations on all these data structures. When it comes to stack, yes, we are going to study about stack, how the data is organized, what are the different types of operations you can do, and what are the applications of stack. So that we are going to see. And second is queues. Again, what is queue? Okay, and what are the different types of queues, and what are the basic operations on queues. Then we are going to discuss about what are the applications of queues. Then linked list. What is a linked list? What are the different types of linked list, and what are the different basic operations possible on linked list and applications of linked list. So all these things we are going to study as a separate unit in your syllabus. For stack and queue, yes, we have maintained in second unit. The first unit in our syllabus is going to be, again we are going to revise the basics of C language, what you have studied in your first year level. In second unit, yes, we are going to discuss about stack and queues. Third unit is completely dedicated for linked list. Fourth unit is going to be trees. Then again, what is tree? It is not a real world analogy what we refer to the trees. It is also a data structure to organize the data which is available, how to access, how to do the n number of operations on trees. All these are discussed in the trees, which is going to be your fourth unit. After that, the last unit is going to be hashing. This is totally different from your data structure, what you are going to study from first to fourth unit. This is one concept where how exactly the data can be organized and accessed efficiently. For that, we will be using hashing. What do you mean by hashing? What are the hashing techniques? There are n number of hashing techniques to store the data. Look at the given example over here. So in the left side, there are some string values and a hash function is given. We'll do some computation by using a hash function. Then we'll get a location in the computer system. So that particular string value is going to be stored in that particular location. Okay, so to do this, n number of hash functions are going to be given in your syllabus. But apart from studying hashing, you are also going to study about what do you mean by collusion avoidance techniques. Means when you are going to do hashing to keep your data into the locations, yes, you are going to face the collusion problem. What is collusion? Means the space what you are going to get to store your data is already allocated for some other data. In that case, a collision going to happen. Means you can't keep a same data in the two data in the same location. Then how to avoid these collisions? So that we are going to discuss in 5th unit. So this is about the entire subject. Okay, and what is my plan if I continue with this subject is I want to implement all these data structures with respect to C programming concept. At least we'll implement one application for all the 5 data structures what you are going to study. One on stack, one on queues, one on linked list, and one on trees. And after covering all the syllabus, let me go back to what are the course outcomes. Look at this. Means as a electrical students, why I need to study this subject? I mean, you can use this particular subject to develop electrical software packages. For example, for civil students, what is the use of this? Look at this. Almost all software tools have good applications in civil engineering. Most design analysis softwares which make our work easy are using algorithms and data structures. Because nowadays, even civil engineering students are using few softwares, and to do use those softwares, yes, we need a data. Then how to organize the data, how to store those data, how to fetch those data. For those things, again, the data structure is going to be a very good subject for those students also. I have given only few outcomes for different engineering branches students here. The third one is most of the product based companies nowadays which are coming for recruiting, they are preferring taking interviews on data structure subject. Because when it comes to product based company, yes, they are interested to take interviews on data structure subject also. So this is about the entire subject what I wanted to I wanted to introduce this subject to you all. So if still any doubts if you are having, you can feel free to contact me by having my phone number from the college website as well as the email ID which is given in the college website. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Professor Prasad M. Puja from Department of CSE, KLS GIT Belgavi, and I will be taking the open elective called as Object-Oriented Programming with Java. The code is 18CS664. So why you need to study Java? Why are you studying Java? That is very much important thing. The question that need to be asked or need to be answered. So why? That is because Java is popular and highly paid job, basically. So as an engineer, whenever you are looking for a job, definitely if you know Java, definitely it is an added advantage. as any other you can say stream engineer. It may be electrical, it may be electronics, it may be mechanical, civil, whatever it may be. If you know Java, then definitely it is an added advantage in your career. So why? Because it is a highly paid job. So as per the estimations that I have gathered, so here 9 million developers, that is 9 plus million developers, are using Java. Around 7 billion devices, and the average developer, Java developer, that is being paid is in between $47,000 to $1 lakh. It depends on what kind of development you are involved in. So it is a highly paid job. Then one more important aspect of Java is it is free of cost and platform independent. Now, what do we mean by free of cost? So, as you are all aware of, if you say software are in two types. That is, one is open source. When I say open source, it is free of cost, and when I say leased or licensed, it is paid. So when I say Java is a open source. You can download anywhere, anytime, and you can start working on it. And when I say platform independent, uh, now if you have seen, there are different types of operating systems in computers that we use. Maybe it may be most commonly is Windows, then Mac, then there is something called as Linux. So Java works perfectly fine with all these different types of operating systems, whether it may be a Window, whether it may be a Mac operating system, or whether it may be a Linux. So it works perfectly fine. So that is one added advantage of learning Java. That is, you can write a code in one platform and you can execute it in some other platform without any extra efforts. Then one more important thing why we need to learn Java as a programmer. See, you will always find a program which is very much easy to code. So as now here, the Java makes use of some common programming paradigms which you have already learned in your first year, that is C programming. So in the C programming, whatever the keys, whatever you can say, the key common things that you have learned, like I want to give an example of the for loop, while loop, if, else, switch. All these things are directly taken from C, and you need not work on extra, or you need not put some extra effort on learning the concepts of Java, because it makes use of the previously known programming paradigms in its programming language. One more important thing why we need to learn Java is it is easy to learn. When I say easy to learn, the complex concepts in the previous languages like C, C++, these are being eliminated, like pointers. I hope everybody knows what is pointer, because you have already learned it in the first year of your engineering career. So you have learned it. So what do we mean by pointers? Pointers is a complex concept that is there in the C. So such concepts in Java are eliminated. And moreover, Java is a object oriented programming language. So when I say object is a simple concept, which you can say object is an instance of a class. What is a class? Class is a template. So when I say Java is a very easy programming language to learn and to execute the programs. Why? Because we have lots of frameworks, libraries, IDEs that are available for a Java application development. So inbuilt library, it is a huge. It has a Java has a huge inbuilt libraries for different kind of frameworks, like swings, like you can say threads, you can say struts, all these things. So you may these are some of the frameworks in Java that are used probably. So it has a strong inbuilt library for all these things without any effort. Just use those libraries and you can execute your program. And moreover, you have some IDEs like NetBeans, Eclipse, IntelliJ. So all these are development tools which will ensure that you are using which will ensure that you can develop the Java program very easily. And moreover, if you have any difficulty regarding any of the frameworks, libraries, or any concepts in Java, so Java has a huge community starting from the beginners level to the advanced level. You will find each and every level community for Java. So you need not worry about if you're stuck up somewhere in the programming. You need not worry. Just put a query in the community. Any person who knows that concept will definitely help you. So these are some of the most important reasons why we need to learn the Java. And here, just see, if I want to tell you why Java. So in the industry, in the IT industry, or in any of the industries, you can consider Java as the most preferred language for programming concept. So first, it is the topmost language that is preferably used in the context in the context of IT industry. So whatever the applications that you develop in the IT industry, for it may be for the it may be in the form of software, it may be for a CS engineer, or it may be for electronics, or it may be for electrical, or it may be for mechanical. Whatever the applications that are developed, most preferred language is Java. A most preferred language is Java. So for that purpose only, I have put this slide. So here it shows you how important the Java is in the outside world and why you need to learn Java. Then coming around about the companies that are already using this Java, the most common or most well-known companies that are using Java here. So you already know LinkedIn, Netflix, Google, Spotify, Amazon, Accenture, Intel, eBay, Google, all these things, Tata. All these companies use Java for development of application in their for their use purpose. So whatever the software that they build, it is making use of most major part is built on Java, and rest of other languages like Python or PHP or any other languages that are used. Now coming about the syllabus for your learning. So we start with the overview of Java, where we are going to find, or we are going to learn how to write the program, Java program. Then we are going to learn the concept called as JVM. JVM is the concept which has made Java as platform independent. So JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. So it is the concept which has made Java as a platform independent. So you can write a program in one platform, and you can execute that in some other platforms. That is enabled with the help of Java Virtual Machines. Then you will be learning about the the different primitive types of data structures that are used in Java, like integer, floating point, all these things in the first unit. Then coming to the second unit, you will be learning about the different operators that are used in Java. So these operators include already now again I'm coming back to your basic concept of C. So in the C, you have already learned these operators: arithmetic operators, bitwise operators, relational operators, Boolean operators. All these things, all these parameters operators you have already learned. So the same thing is continued in Java also. Then comes the main concept of Java, that is class. What is a class? Why we are using class? So class is basically, when I say class, class is a template. So to access this template, we make use of object. What is an object? Object is an instance of a class. Instance is nothing but it is a real world entity of a class through which we can use this class for our application development purpose. Then we have something called as constructors. Then we have something called as a garbage collection, finalize. Then all these things which are important and concepts which are related to the class. So you will be learning all these things in the unit 3. So once you are well versed with this, class and objects, then we move to the next unit, that is the inheritance. So inheritance is the very important concept of Java, where you are trying to reuse the code. Now, what is reusing of code? That is nothing but inheritance. Now you write some code in first only, and if you know that this code will be used further in some other program also, so you can just write it once and you can reuse it multiple times with the help of inheritance. That is, you can take the properties of one class in the other class, and you can try and use it for your purpose. That is called as inheritance. Then we have something called as interfaces and packages. So interfaces are nothing but it is what you can say, it is a multi-level inheritance. So in Java we cannot have multiple inheritance. So we cannot have multiple inheritance. For that purpose, we make use of interface. Interface will provide us multiple inheritance. That is, we can inherit the properties of 2 or more classes with the help of interface. Then package is nothing but it is a directory. You can call it as a directory where you are keeping all your contents related to Java in that particular directory. Then coming to the 5th unit. In the 5th unit, you will be learning about exception handlings. So there are, what do we mean by exceptions? Basically, exceptions are errors that are occurring during the runtime. During the runtime, when you are trying to run the Java program, during that point of time, you end up with some errors. So those errors are nothing but exceptions. So exceptions will cause the program to abruptly terminate. So in order to avoid such things, what we do is we make use of exception handling. So how exceptions are handled in Java? So there are some keywords which are used, or inbuilt keywords which are used, or libraries which are used in the Java, for which using which we can just avoid exceptions. So that we call it as exception handling. So this is the just a overview of what you will be learning in Java. So it is just a basic entry level concept now here, whatever I have introduced. This is what you are going to learn in Java. So I hope that you find it interesting, and you find it that it is a most important language when it comes to job. And for that purpose, I hope you will just you will find this Java as one of the important concept in the engineering scenario. So for that purpose, I hope some of you have understood this concept. And if moreover, if you have any queries regarding Java, I am available in the college. You can contact me for the contact number. You can find it in the GIT website, or you can mail me. The mail is also there in the GIT website, so you can contact me in that particular through that particular way, that is either by contact, by mobile contact, or by sending the query through email. So for any additional queries regarding Java, you can anytime query me. So so at this point of time, I'll just finish it off, and thank you for patient listening, and hope you will take the Java as one of the elective in the forthcoming semester for 6th sem. Thank you.